Kia ora everyone, welcome to the ACE RMO 2025 Nelson Hospital webinar. My name is Sam and I am the ACE RMO consultant. Today we're going to start off with an opening karakia by Loretta, who is the RMO team lead, and then I will give everyone a brief outline of today's webinar.
Aio ki tarangi, aio ki te whenua, aio ki ngā mea katoa, I runga I o tātou haringa, te hei muri ora.
Thank you so much, Loretta, and thank you so much to everybody for taking the time to join, especially our wonderful panelists. I appreciate, and we appreciate that this is all valuable time, so thank you for being here with us today. During the webinar, we will have a presentation that we will share with you all with two lovely videos that have been put together for you guys to enjoy. And then I will hand over to our panelists who will present and our RMO representatives that will tell you just a little bit more about the experience working at hospital. Towards the end of the webinar, we will have a live Q&A session. So please don't hold back. This is a great opportunity to ask your questions. You can pop them in the Q&A box, which you should see above your screen. Just to note, though, that these questions will be answered towards the end of the session.
So, kia ora everyone, my name's Alexa. Ko tainui toko iwi, ko tai toko aho, ko Alexa toko wingua. So, my name's Alexa. I'm originally from Levin and chose to come to Nelson because I really enjoyed my ENT elective here.
I'm from Dunedin originally, but spent my TI year here last year. Loved it so much, thought I'd stay around.
Top of the south.
Tēnā koutou, no mai haramai.
I came to Nelson 10 years ago with the expectation that I'd spend 6 months to a year here, and now I wouldn't live anywhere else.
Nelson Marlborough gives you a good balance between sort of work life and social life. Nelson Hospital is a good size hospital to work at. It's a friendly environment, so you actually know a lot of the people in the hospital that you're working with.
There's quite a lot of good relationships between different specialties.
So there's lots of opportunities for you to develop your career however you want to focus it on.
A disadvantage for patients in bigger services is that they can get turned into a set of individual problems without one person really thinking about them as a human being. This is a fantastic environment to actually be able to practice really good medicine because you have the opportunity to look at the person as a whole.
Yeah, it's just easy to get around. So in Sydney it was always a battle everywhere you wanted to go, and I think that sort of flows on to even the patients. They come into the hospital, they can get a park, and they're quite happy to have a chat and they're quite relaxed.
Lots of restaurants, beautiful beaches. It's an excellent place to raise a family. I have 2 children now. Schools are fantastic. We couldn't be happier living here.
I would say to somebody who is wanting to come and work for Nelson Marlborough Health that they should do it. It's a great place to work, it's a great place to live, and it's a really enjoyable environment to be in.
It's always sunny.
Everything you could ask for.
There's nowhere else in New Zealand I'd want to live.
People come here by choice because it is a fantastic destination, and then they stay because when they realise they've been here for a while, they don't want to leave.
Cool, kia ora. I guess we've introduced ourselves. This is just some stats about Nelson Hospital and the wider region as well. 184 beds. That kind of goes up or down depending on how busy it is, but we actually serve quite a big population in general. The catchment area is over 100,000 and people go all the way out to Golden Bay. There's a good community out there, and then over through to Waido too. And the hospitals communicate quite a bit with transferring patients for different procedures. We are a teaching hospital too, so we have 5th years come to stay and also trainee interns as well that can be here for a year or a quarter, and a heap of elective students now who are all pretty keen to come since COVID's opened back up again. Who knows about the new hospital in the pipeline? We had some big wigs come through earlier in the week, but it's all chatter.
So our Nelson Marlborough DHB values are respect, manaakitanga. You'll feel that as soon as you walk in the door. We're all very connected and we care about each other, and have a diverse range of people that work here in Nelson. Innovation, oahaha. We would provide an environment where people can challenge current processes and generate new ways of working and learning. Teamwork, whakara me, we create an environment where teams flourish and connect across the organisation for the best possible outcome and integrity. Nāko tapatahi. So we support an environment which expects openness and honesty. Yeah, so we own up to our mistakes. In terms of RMO information, there's 12 PGY1 positions available here in Nelson, 46 house officers total, and 32 registrars. We have quite a few PGY2s, PGY3s often stay on, and then there's a lot of house officers from the UK as well. In PGY1, you have to do a general medicine and general surgery run. I've just finished my general medicine run. It was a really good start to the year to give you like a baseline general knowledge for all your specialties going forward. You started with
urology and ENT, so that was a great one too. You run with quite a tight-knit crew, good flat hierarchy as well, which I think can be said right throughout the hospital.
Other runs you can do are general surgery and vascular run, gynae, opthal, orthopedics, cardiology, and ATNR. I'm currently on ATNR at the moment, which I'm really enjoying. It's a great run for one-on-one time with your SMO and getting a lot of teaching. You also get a really good insight into NDT and their roles for patient care.
In terms of PGY2 runs, these are the ones listed below there. So ED is generally 6 months, and same with the two above that, the ONG and the PEDS ones. They like people to tie them in with the diplomas because that shows that they're invested in it. Can also go to senior house officers to be on the PGY2, but it's not unheard of, and they're really, really great runs here. You can also do inpatient psych and community psych. The other community runs that actually count for the pre-vocational supervision is hospice, GP, urgent care, relief, those ones. And the geriatric psych hospital is by all accounts really, really good. They get you really involved, and you don't feel too disconnected from the main hospital. The anaesthetics one is kind of a question mark on that because they might be getting registrars in, but we'll see where that goes. Relief is generally, I think, highly recommended to do in Nelson in your PGY2. It's something that you help out your colleagues by being able to fill the gaps. You get paid well. So yeah, it's really good, that one, apparently. All of our pay categories are category D, except for relief, which is category A. So convinces a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, I think there's also some opportunity to do a relief run in your first year.
These are just some extra things about what we get here that might be unique to Nelson or might not be in other places. So each quarter you'll typically have a week of admission shifts where you're helping the medical registrar to admit patients directly from ED. It's quite different from the normal ward work during the day. You start at 2:30 and go through until 10:30. You feel a little bit more like you can use your brain versus just doing discharges on end. So that's really fun. The rostering is superb here. They do very well, Joe and Loretta, to cater to our requests for time off, even in tight rostering. But they're very, very friendly, and I think everyone has done well to take leave so far. There's a backup roster too that you can sign up if you want to be kind of on call in a sense. Other important ones that stick out to me is the 6% matched KiwiSaver. Yeah, it's your pre-tax income, so it feels like you're saving without even really knowing about it. And then in terms of number of weekends that you work, it's about 3 each run. One is a short day, one is a long day. You typically get assigned to a surgical weekend or a medical weekend, and kind of the roles within that vary a little bit, but we can talk about that if you guys are interested. One long day a week that goes until 10, where you cover the medical wards and the surgical wards. You don't cover obstetrics and gynecology nor peds. That's generally an SHO that does that. We get to start nights, but we'll tell you how scary that will be when we do.
Yeah, we don't have to start them for a wee while now. I think it's also important to note that we only do the one long day per week. Some DHBs will make you do 2, and the double long day weekends, even as a junior doctor. House officer teaching, so there's ground round on a Tuesday, but the protected teaching time is Wednesday 12 to 1:30. We had it today. It was really interesting. First session was on vertigo, and our second session was antiemetic prescribing and laxative prescribing. So it's just really useful for your day-to-day clinical practice. And then Thursday, we also have 12 to 1, the wellbeing topics, which are really helpful as well. In terms of courses you can apply for, there's the Core Advanced and the ACLS course. I did the ACLS course a few weeks ago. You will do it as a TI, but it's just to maintain your airway skills and emergency skills. Prompt pediatric life support, family violence and situational training is also available. There's also the NLS course, which isn't listed, for neonatal life support. I'm doing that in a few weeks' time, just to feel a bit more prepared for pediatric and ONG long days, which start your 3rd quarter, I believe.
My name's Roshani and I'm a PGY1 here at Nelson Hospital. I'm currently working on the AT&R ward, so that's for older person's health.
Hi, my name's Edward Palmer and I'm a first year house officer at Nelson Hospital, and currently I'm doing urology.
I was lucky enough to do some of my trainee intern year here at Nelson Hospital last year. So I did a quarter up here and absolutely loved it. What sort of struck me from day one was just how friendly everyone was here. I guess being a smaller hospital, you get to know everyone by names pretty quickly.
So the RMO office for Nelson Marlborough District Health Board is simply fantastic. I've always had a really positive interaction with them, whether it's something on the roster you might need changed or some leave you want to get. I think that the reputation that this DHB has in that regard is probably the best.
There's only 12 PGY1s and I think roughly about 40 house officers in total. So you get to know your fellow colleagues pretty well inside and outside the hospital.
So despite being a small hospital, I would say that any career opportunity is possible from Nelson, especially if you're interested in practical procedures, anaesthetics or surgery. There's a lot of opportunities earlier than in other hospitals to get involved and learn some of those basic things. It also has on its hands more time for the patients, so you can gain your skills as a first year in a more thorough manner. And to add to that, it's in such a beautiful location, it made it hard to resist.
Achieving a work-life balance in a career in medicine is always something that's stressed upon and something that we all want to achieve, and I think in Nelson, just being in this beautiful area that we are, it's sort of handed to you on a plate. There's so many awesome beaches, great hiking and mountain biking tracks, and there's just so much to do outside of work.
The hospital is well staffed, so you often don't have to work later than expected, and that makes being able to get out there and do what you really love that much easier.
Yeah, why we love working in Nelson. Everyone knows everyone. It's a great environment. You go and have lunch and you can just sit with anyone who's already there. And everyone's positive and friendly. I wouldn't have chosen to work here if I didn't think it was a great place to work. It's super supportive. All the SMOs have your back and are happy to help if you have any questions. Very collegial environment in terms of all of MDT and nursing as well. Especially for me on general medicine, I got to know the physios and the occupational therapists really well and made some good friends. Also a good opportunity for learning in terms of clinical experience or attending trauma calls and rapid responses, and getting to do some hands-on procedures. Once a week and on general medicine and general surgery, you'll carry a pager to attend the RRTs or rapid responses. So who attends is yourself, a PAR nurse, another house officer and the reg on call. So it's a good time to practice attending or being a first responder, but you'll also be very well supported in terms of the other people that are going to those trauma calls. The cafe food is great. Alex knows how great the cafe food is, but they have very healthy options as well, and you also get a free barista coffee each day, which is awesome. In terms of commuting to work, it's a very easy place to get to. I walk to work. I'm not sure about yourself.
Yeah, I bike to work.
Bike to work, yeah. And easy to find a park on peripheral streets if you get here before 8 in the morning, which as a house officer, most of the time you are. You do finish on time most of the time, with some exceptions. And yeah, the patient demographic is usually just lovely. We have a lot of people retire here in Nelson. So we do have an older population, but yeah, my experience has been very great so far in terms of patient interaction.
I got nothing to add there. I agree. So some possible limitations, depends on perspective, I guess. Because we're a regional centre, we don't have some of the sub-specs like neurosurgery or max facs. So they would go elsewhere to Wellington or to Christchurch. We also don't have, say, hepatobiliary surgery up here as well. I mean, I guess it depends on what you think you need to get exposed to as a junior house officer. Those things in the niche interest will come at some point. And I guess you could say the upside to it being a more generalized hospital is that you can do the core or the bread and butter of the work where you get exposed to it in a better way here. I would say there's probably almost no nightlife in Nelson. I think maybe once or twice a year the clubs might be going well. Mainly it's, I'd say, a pub and potluck sort of nightlife. So
yeah,
lots of good beer places and lots of potlucks as TIs, and then also with all the other house officers too. Makes it really good. The community, as Alexa was saying, has quite a lot of retirees, and with that kind of comes a narrower, I guess, distribution of ethnicity. In saying that, we do have a few refugee populations here. I can think of the Burmese and there's some Nepalese as well. And over in Golden Bay and in Nelson, as well as Waido, there's also Māori and Pacifica. So, I mean, it's really rewarding when you engage with them. And I wouldn't say that there's none here at all. It's just very different in kind of mixture from a place like Gisborne, for example, where I've got friends working. Yeah.
In terms of ACE applications, Nelson likes to know that you've put some time and effort into considering them and wanting them. So definitely make sure that in your cover letter you've put Nelson Hospital and Nelson specific things in there. So don't just use a generic cover letter that you could use for any hospital. I give strong encouragement and recommendation to come and visit Nelson Hospital and see Loretta and Joe. I'm a Wellington student, but I came down for the interviews, and I really think that helped me secure a position here in PGY1. Yeah, it's really also really good to mention like connections to the area. If you know people working here already or have family in the region, that's really helpful. And being a team player and a friendly person is also very important to mark on your cover letter. Anything to add? No,
yeah, they're reflected in the values of the hospital and those videos and what we've said. The culture, kind of already touched on this. The Free House is one of those infamous pubs, but there's also a social committee at the hospital of some of us who organise wine and cheese and the ball. Probably one of the highlights, I'd say, is the pizza night at Roz's. So she is one of the general surgeons here at the hospital. She helps kind of choose who the upcoming PGY1s are, and she got a cracking pizza oven at her place, and we'll do probably quarterly pizza nights, I'd say. Whoever and everyone comes, you know, it's an open invite, so it's very cool. Once you get over the fact that you're munching a slice of pizza with the anaesthetic consultant, for example. There's a gym here on site at the hospital too, which has a bit of a secret pool and some squash courts, and I think it's a couple bucks a week to go. It's really cool. And then you'll see in some photos later, but the region is insane. There's so much to do in an outdoors sense, and so much to do in a different sense. You know, there's pottery and there's a bustling arts scene as well. I don't think you could explore it all in 5 years, 10 years.
New this year as well, like in terms of social sports teams, we had a hospital hockey team. So it was myself and a few other house officers, but we also had an anaesthetist in the team. One of the surgeon's children was in the team, and we won the competition. So if you're a sports person, definitely Nelson is a good place to come and visit.
I guess this just shows what is in the region. I don't know how big that kilometre triangle radius is, maybe 100k each way, if not more. You can kind of pick your weather window and go wherever you want if you're after a weekend away, and you can be assured that there'll always be something to do.
And here's just some pictures of some great activities that we attend. So you've got Able Tasman, and we floated down the river on some warehouse floaties one day. That was a great day, but we all got sunburnt. So just remember to slip, slop, slap if you're doing that kind of thing. More Able Tasman.
Yeah.
I think this is just a great demonstration of workplace culture. So that's some of the PGY2s that just got really close on their surgical rotation, protesting together. We also have a group chat with all the junior doctors in the hospital, including the registrars. And often someone will message, hey, I'm doing this walk weekend this weekend. Does anyone want to come? So even if you're not familiar with the area, you'll be very close in contact with people that are.
Heaps of biking to be had. The photo on the left is one of probably, I think, like 10 bike parks in the region. So yeah, if you're into the two-wheel format, then there's lots of that. I think that's Lake Angeles to the right. The one on the left is Mount Patriarch in the background, and I think Luna Tops, just with a wee tarn there.
Yeah, and then that was one of our many potlucks that we have. That's the PGY2s that they had last year in their first week, just to get to know each other.
Nelson at sunset.
Yeah. This is actually at my house. We also have a pizza oven, so we tried to replicate the Ros's Pizza Night function. More pictures of Angeles and Mount Patriarch. If you're into like abseiling and rock climbing, there's also opportunities to do that in the Nelson region. Demonstrated there is the Via Ferrata, which is on Takaka Hill, about an hour drive out of Nelson.
More route climbing and running by the looks of it.
What were you doing in that picture?
It was at Able Tas Crystal Classic. That's the infamous Muscle Inn on the right there over in Golden Bay.
Yeah, so it's not all outdoor activities. If you're into the arts, there is opportunity to delve into that in the Nelson region as well. Toad Hall is also a very famous cafe in Motueka, which has amazing food. That's the only picture I could find in my camera roll, but they have this blue cheese and mushroom pie, which is amazing. Yeah, definitely worth a visit if you're here. Yeah, myself and Alex, we're happy to be contacted anytime. You can find us at those emails. I'll check it daily. Not sure about Alex, but
I check mine hourly, thanks.
Hourly, okay, cool. Yeah, happy to have any questions.
Great, thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I definitely want to come visit for the pie. Blue cheese is my favorite, so. I just want to see if we have any questions that have popped up in the box yet. Don't see anything that's come through. I think you guys did a great job at covering it all. I do have some general questions that we can go through together today, just to cover a few more things. But just a reminder to our participants, if you've joined a little bit late, you're more than welcome to pop any questions in the Q&A box above, and we can answer them now together. Given the 12 PGY1 positions, how many of the current PGY1s were TIs in Nelson?
8, I think, were TIs in Nelson or spent time there.
And 4 of us were not, but one of them spent their GP elective here. I did my ENT run here. One of my friends had no placements here, but just came for an interview and Yeah, 2 people didn't do runs here and still got positions.
Can you give us any sort of information about looking for accommodation? Is it easy to find, and do you kind of have an average costs that you could maybe share with everyone?
That was in TI. Spent 3 months without a flat, couch surfing. I think there's lots of rooms going around, but if you want a flat for a bunch of you, it's a little harder to find somewhere within good access. But there's plenty of rooms, and the RMO unit always put us in touch with places popping up, which is really handy because you can kind of get them before they go to market on Trade Me or Marketplace. Average cost, I think I pay $100 a week currently.
You pay $100 a week. I pay $160 a week for my room. I think it varies.
Yeah, last year I was 200, but I mean,
160 to 200 is probably average for a room in Nelson.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what the orientation week entails and what they've got to look forward to?
there was, what was there? Feels like ages ago now. We're 14 weeks in. We had, because we're essentially part of the same hospital system as Waido too. The new grads over there came and hung out with us for a couple of days. We got orientated to the sorts of values that you saw before. Met some of the people who helped run the hospital in a backdoor sense. And met Joe and Loretta. Got shown around by some of the PGY2s. Had great food.
Yep. We also got an introduction from ICU and pharmacy, just things and how things are run in those kind of areas. We also had, a really good talk from Sophie about how to refer, like within the hospital, so that if you are coming from out of the service, you don't feel so lost coming into a new tech system, which was really helpful.
I guess we are on the 5 mark, but I'll just end off with, if our participants are wanting to arrange a trip, but under personal circumstances, they can't physically get there, is there any other opportunity for them to maybe have a phone conversation or a Zoom to meet the team?
Loretta might be able to answer this better.
Yeah, there is an opportunity to do teams. The pre-vocational educational supervisors would prefer if people came face to face, if they're really serious about coming here. But we do understand that people can be far away and people can actually be on elective overseas. So they do take that into consideration.
Yeah, I know one of my friends had a Zoom interview and she's working here now. Loretta and Joe were able to organise that.
Great, thank you. And then lastly, I know it's been quite a common question that's come through, is with regards to if the system is paper-based or electronic.
Paper-based mostly.
Mostly paper-based. There is some electronic things like in ED they use online notes.
Yeah, I wouldn't see it as a negative, the paper-based system currently.
Great, thank you. So just a reminder to our participants, if they may think of a question after the webinar and they think, oh, I should have asked that, please get in touch with the RMO unit directly. All the details are provided under the employer section on the ACE RMO website. If you have any questions with regards to the ACE process at all, more than welcome to contact me via phone or email. My details are also available on the ACE RMO website. And then you can just share with your colleagues or friends that weren't able to join today's live session that this Nelson webinar will be uploaded to our ACE RMO YouTube channel within a few days. So keep an eye out for that. And then lastly, one more little tip, I guess, is to keep an eye out on our ACE RMO Facebook page. There's quite a few updates and tips that do get loaded to that social media page. So keep a lookout for that. Thanks for your time today, panelists, and to our participants that are watching.
Kia whakaria te tapu, kia Atea I Taara, kia turuki whakataha I Homii, hui e, tuiki e.
Great, thank you so much. I hope everyone has a really lovely evening. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.